Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake, for all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs. Go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Bass Thumbs Fishing Podcast, where we are constantly trying to keep our thumbs ripped up. Tonight, we got a awesome episode lined up for you guys, and one that we've been trying to do for the last couple of weeks, but this guy just keeps winning things and traveling other places and just keeps doing really well. So we kept pushing it back. We got Mr. Anthony Garcia from G Team Outdoors with us tonight. So really excited to go over his kind of 3 weeks of tear, I guess you could call it. He went out to Roosevelt and won at Lake Roosevelt in a KBF Trail. And then he went out to the California Delta with the ABA Ironman series and won the Delta. And then he drove all the way out to Louisiana and fished Caddo Lake with KBF and ended up taking like top 3 in multiple of the events there. And I just can't wait to hear about his experience, and he's a good friend of mine. So tonight should be a really fun, good episode for you guys. But first, we got a couple housekeeping things that I want to go over. Obviously, I know it's been I think 3 weeks since I've last recorded an episode. We've just had a lot going on over here in Southern California. And when the last episode was supposed to air, it was right before the California Delta. We went up to the California Delta for the Ironman series a couple weeks back and had an absolute blast up there with the ABA series. There was 40 anglers that signed up. And I know that, like I said, Anthony won it. I had a really good time myself. I think I ended up taking 15th. You know, not the finish that I was hoping for, but I'll take it. I wasn't able to get any practice in. Caught a lot of bedfish, chatterbait fish, and the Delta was definitely on fire. There was a lot of people catching them all over the place. It was a really fun time. My buddy Brad Bloxel, got to give him a shout out. He got an Airbnb right on the water over at Discovery Bay, and had myself, Tim O'Connor, Dominic Doan, Greg Ellingson, just had a fun house over there in Discovery Bay. So thanks for that, Brad, for the hospitality and having us out there. That's the funnest part about these Ironman events. Especially them being 2-day events. It builds camaraderie amongst the anglers, because we're all camping out for at least one night. Some of us 3, some of us 2, but I think it's just fun to get together and fish the whole weekend instead of just go fish one day and come home. So the Ironman series has been a blast. We are now 2 events in, and we are about to come up on our 3rd event. And that's the first thing that I have for you guys tonight. So coming up in the next couple of weeks, on April 23rd and 24th, we have the American Bass Ironman Kayak Series, Hobie, presented by Hook Fishing. And I cannot wait to head out to San Vicente, you guys. This is going to be a West Coast Championship qualifying event for the Clear Lake Championship up with Yakabass and James Snyder and the crew up there. So the top 20% or 25% will be qualified to fish at Clear Lake in August. Along with, there's also going to be a KBF Trail and Pro Series ran simultaneously with this event. So you guys, the payouts here are just for the Ironman series, but you guys could see if we hit 50 anglers, if we hit 100 anglers, these are the payouts. So I'm guessing we're going to maybe hit around 60, hopefully 60, 65, 70. It's kind of a goal for us. I mean, we'd love to have 100, but realistically, being in SoCal, that's kind of where we're at, I think, especially for these bigger buy-ins, because there's going to be an entry fee of around $700 if you get into everything this weekend. The Ironman is going to be $250. Each trail event is going to be, I believe, $115, and the Pro Series is $200. But like I put up in a previous graphic, there's going to be almost $10,000 cashed out for first place, especially if someone sweeps the whole thing. So $10,000 plus for first place, depending on how many anglers we get at San Vicente. Sign me up. I think it's going to be a good event. I think the fish are going to be spawn, pre-spawn, post-spawn. I think it's going to be all 3 phases. The water temperature's climbing. The weather's getting better. Springtime is definitely here. and I feel like the bass are going to be chewing pretty good. So my predictions for this event, I'm not really sure. I think somewhere around, if you get 85, around 85 to 90 both days, I feel like you got a shot at winning it. I feel like even if you put up 90 and then 80 the second day, I think around 170 is going to take it home. So that's my prediction. And either way, it's going to be a really fun and good event. So I went out to Dale Hollow this past weekend. Me and my wife flew out for the paddle and fin tournament out at Dale Hollow at Eastport Marina. First thing I got to say is Tennessee did not, disappoint us. We had an incredible time. The views driving out to the lake at Dale Hollow, the open country feel, the Southern hospitality was definitely alive and very active, and it was really fun to be out there. My wife and I flew, and everyone at Paddle and Fin, we got to meet them in person for the first time. Brian Schiller and all the crew, you guys absolutely knocked this event out of the park. Brian, I got to give you a huge shout out for coming and picking up my wife and me and my wife and just driving us out all over the place. And then shout out to Chad Hoover for letting me borrow his kayak. And it was just a great time. The fishing wasn't as good, honestly, as I thought it was going to be. It was a little bit tough. My wife was fishing with me the whole time, so it wasn't a super serious event for myself, but we had a good time. We caught some fish, and yes, my wife did catch a bigger fish than me. On the Tourney X board, she put up a 16, and my biggest was a 15 and a quarter. So she got me on that one, but it is what it is. I'm glad she had a good time because now she's kind of hooked to it. She wants to do it again, and that just means more time on the water for me. So that's a good thing. Also, we went to downtown Nashville, had some good drinks, listened to some good music, spent a couple nights down there in Nashville. And again, just absolutely blew all my expectations out of the water. And I definitely want to go back. So Paddle and Fin, Brian, everyone, excellent job. Can't wait to go back next year. And it was just a really fun event. So thankful for that. Unfortunately, I did get a little sick come Sunday, Monday, and I'm still feeling a little bit tonight, but I really wanted to get this episode out for you guys. Anthony's been doing a lot, and I feel like I don't want to go more than 3 weeks without an episode. So I think that's pretty much it. You guys could sign up for that ABA tournament, get signed up for the KBF Trail. Let's support them. We also have some SoCal events coming up. I think El Cap is next sometime in mid-April. I want to say it's in a couple weeks from now, but you guys can look up SoCal Kayak Anglers on Instagram. I know Yakabas has an event coming up at Berryessa here in the next couple of weeks as well. And that's pretty much it for as far as I know off the top of my head. I didn't do that good a preparation for this, but let's go ahead and highlight Mr. Anthony Garcia. Let's go ahead and bring him in here, and can't wait to hear how the tear that he's been on. So what's up, bro? How are you doing, man?
What's cracking?
Mr. Anthony G Team himself. What's up, bro? Hey, first off, I just want to say, dude, as your friend, as one of your bros, I want to say, dude, congratulations. And it's really cool to see how you're just kind of taking this time and going for it. And you're driving all over the place and you're giving it every ounce of effort that you have. And it's really cool to see it paying off for you. I know that you put a lot of hard work into it. And you're also a good ambassador for the sport as well. And it's just really cool to see it all pay off. So before we kind of dive into all the details of your 3-week tear, let's call it, congratulations, bro.
Thanks, dude.
So let's go ahead and kind of start off things with Roosevelt. I know it was a few weeks ago. I know it's not like super fresh on your mind, but let's kind of take us back to Roosevelt. I have a picture right here that I'll throw up first for Roosevelt. Let's see if I get the right one right here. Boom. So you the first day, I'm not sure. I don't think you did as well, obviously, but the second day you took home first place. Let's talk about that weekend, bro.
So we got there Thursday night, and we were able to pre-fish all of Friday, which was awesome because the past 2 tournaments that I did this year, I wasn't able to pre-fish, and I did horrible. I think it was I don't even remember. It was, I think, a couple Bass Nations in the beginning of the year or something. Did trash. And I kind of knew that without pre-fishing, I mean, you could get lucky, but you're really not going to find winning fish without pre-fishing. So going into Roosevelt, I thought pre-fishing was going to be awesome. I mean, Arizona in March, I was thinking the spawn was gonna be firing off, and was it March? I think it was March. And
Yeah.
but pre-fishing was horrible, dude. I mean, I caught like 10, 12 inches mid-lake. Water temperature was like super low 60s, like 60, 61. And it didn't demoralize me, but I was like, it's gonna be a tough tournament again. I was there in 2019, and I caught 3 fish and ended up in like 11th place or something. So I was like, dang, it's gonna be one of those again. And so I didn't even so whatever. Friday happened, pre-fishing sucked, changed spots on the lake, and launched further south on Saturday, and kind of found better looking stuff to fish. And I think I caught my first fish at like 11 o'clock and ended up being a 19, I think, which was awesome because that was the biggest fish that I had seen the whole time I was down there. And I think 3 casts later, I hooked like a 16, and I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna happen, dude. Like I luckily found the juice, and didn't catch another fish for like 6 hours. I mean, it was the struggle bus pretty much the whole day. Ended up catching 2, I think like a 12 and a 13 within the last 30 minutes of the tournament, and then couldn't get that 5th keeper. And I knew that was
what did you get those? What did you get those 4 fish on?
the 2 in the morning were on the crankbait on the DT6, and it was like the only spot that looked reasonable to crank. I mean, it was just chunk and pebble rock on the bank, and at Roosevelt, the bank is covered in brush and trees. So finding that open area, I was like, this is perfect. And then I have live scope on my kayak, so I was able to see that there was bait there. I didn't see any bass. Usually I'm able to see the bass chasing bait, but I saw bait balls in the area. And the first couple casts in there, I was able to stick 2 good ones. And then after that, I mean, the bait disappeared. The wind completely stopped. It kind of sucked. I mean, it didn't kind of suck. It sucked. And so I went kind of back towards the ramp, and I think I was throwing the jerk bait and the drop shot. I ended up sticking 2 on the drop shot on live scope, just chasing fish down pretty much. And
Yeah.
I mean, that Saturday sucked. I was hoping for that 5th fish, because without that 5th fish, you're really, I mean, unless you have like a crazy day on day 2, you're kind of out of it for the Pro Series. And which I was. I mean, if I would have had that 5th fish and then the limit that I had on day 2, it would have been interesting for sure.
Okay,
But,
and then we get into Sunday, and Sunday is gonna be the start of the 3-week tear.
yeah, I guess, dude. Yeah, no, Sunday, I don't know. I was thinking about launching mid-lake again, because I was like, I know I could get 5 fish up there at least. 12 inches is going to be better than 4 fish, missing that 1 fish for the limit. But I don't know what kept me down there. I mean, I knew the weather was going to change a little bit. We were supposed to get it a little colder, but it was just supposed to be windy earlier. And I know for the crankbait, I mean, I don't know if it helped it that much, but I definitely saw more fish being pushed on that bank because of that wind. So first things, I mean, on Saturday, I started way lower than where I caught my first fish on Saturday. But on Sunday, I went straight to that spot, and I mean, it immediately fired off, dude. It wasn't every cast, but it was like every other cast. I was just hooking up on that DT6. I was landing it, measuring it, then recasting and hooking up again. It was crazy. I probably caught like 25 fish in the first like 2 hours, maybe. I had my limit by like 8 o'clock. It was nuts. And I mean, I was rotating. It was legit, dude. Like, I mean, you saw the video. I mean, if for the people that are watching this, if you want to watch the video, it's on the GT Outdoors YouTube channel. It was legit like an 80-yard stretch of shoreline that was just loaded with fish. And I mean, I just kept rotating between that and looking for beds. I couldn't find any beds. I mean, people were saying like, yeah, they're stacked everywhere on beds, and I couldn't. I mean, I think I'm a pretty good bed fisherman or side fisherman. I think I could see beds pretty well, and I couldn't see crap until I think I was cranking all day.
That was a very humble statement, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is an absolute hammer in the spring, freaking best bed fisherman I probably know. So
no,
if he can't see him on beds, no one can. Because don't even say no, bro. Because the next tournament we're getting into, literally, let's just keep going. But very humble statement by Anthony right there. He's a great bed fisherman. So
yeah.
keep going.
Well, So yeah, I mean, I was cranking all day, dude. I was legit just sitting on top of where the fish were and giving them a break, and then making another cast like in the middle of the day, and then hooking up. And I just kept catching 15s and 16s, dude, and they weren't helping me. And I think I flipped one piece of brush that was kind of in the area that I was in, and it stuck like a 13. And then I think the tournament ended at 2:30. So at 1 o'clock, I started looking for beds. I just took off, left the area. I wasn't upgrading. And I went through 3 coves. And it was like a 2-mile stretch. I went into 3 coves. And on the last cove, I got in there around 2 o'clock, I think, and found one bedfish. It was small, but I was like, well, at least there's beds in here. And then I started breaking through brush and getting shallower and shallower. And then I found some decent bedfish. And one being the one that I caught was a 16 and a quarter, I think, or no, 16 and a half, something. It was over 16. And when I saw it, I was like, that's going to freaking help me. Flipped in there and it took off. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm going to spend the rest of the day on this fish. I'll just wait for it to come back to the bed. So I dropped my PowerPoint. I was just sitting there and I looked down to my left and legit, like I could have grabbed this fish, dude. It was just sitting under a tree and just sitting on a bed. And I was like, what the heck, dude? There's a bass right here. I dropped my lure in front of it and it bolts. But when it took off, it shook another fish out of another piece of brush. And I ended up sticking that one. It was a 16.75 and a 16 and a half is what I ended my day with. And I legit caught them in the last like 10 minutes of the tournament. The second 16 and a half, I flipped in there like with 15 minutes to spare, set the hook and broke it off. And like, I don't know, I caught the first bedfish that I had originally seen and then went back to trying to catch that one, caught that one and was able to retrieve my hook out of its mouth, dude. It was freaking crazy. I mean, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And that was definitely my day.
Can you share with us a little bit what like bedfish bait you were using at Roosevelt?
No.
What'd he say?
I
Did you
said
say
no.
no? Okay,
No,
fair
I'm
enough.
just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Initially, I didn't really like I said, I wasn't seeing any beds. So I mean, usually when it's a bed fishing tournament, I'll have an assortment of lures tied on that resemble aggressive intimidators for beds, I guess you could say. But I had a craw bait and a quiver worm. I think it's a 7-inch quiver worm on a shaky head, and that's what I had originally broke the fish on. I popped the shaky head in his face pretty much. He ate it, set the hook, and it broke off. And the next after I ended up catching those last 2 bedfish on the Berkeley Champ Craw, I think it's called. It's their new like super realistic 3D bait. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it helped, but it definitely boosts the confidence when the bait looks that similar to actual crawfish.
Yeah. All right. So, how much did you end up taking home when you won that event on Sunday? Because you ended up winning it. Obviously, this is what this is for. So he won Sunday. What'd you
Yeah.
end up taking home that day?
I think right at 2,300, maybe a little bit more.
All right. So 2,300. Let's keep that in our heads, everyone. Okay, 2,300. So now let's go to first off, let's kind of pause for a second. Anthony, let's tell everyone that's listening what you do for a living, because I'm sure there's some people asking, like, dude, how does this guy spend this much time on the water with being a full-time worker and everything? So why don't you tell
Yeah.
us what you're doing, what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a seasonal firefighter on the Angeles National Forest. So right now, basically, I'm not working. I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. But I just got a call today, actually, that my start date is May 8th. So after May 8th, you guys probably aren't going to see me fishing that much. But I will make it to, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the ABA TLC, but I'll definitely be at the KBF NC. I don't know how I'm going to wiggle that out of there, but I'm going to definitely make it. But yeah, I'm on engine 23, and yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
So he basically works incredibly hard for like most of the year, and then he has this time off. So when he gets this time off, he takes the most of it and goes out and pursues this dream of him, fishing competitively out of a kayak. And you could see when you're able. It's just unfortunate because I feel like if there were some of us in the sport, and I'm gonna even say I'm just gonna include myself as well, just because I just feel confident enough to say that, but if we all had the the right amount of time to really invest in this thing and really go for it with everything that we had, kind of like what you're doing right now. There's a lot of it. A lot of the credit has to go towards time on the water. That's like the biggest part of it. So if we all were able to have that time on the water like we should be able to do, I feel like a lot of us would do a lot better in our, tournament performances. And you're kind of seeing that now. You're able to not really have anything else to take up your time, and you're investing that in the sport, and in return, you're seeing the results. So, and that goes for a bunch of people in the sport. There's a lot of people that are able to do that, and that's pretty much why they do really well. And then there's most of us out there that do it as more of a hobby and just try to squeeze it into our busy schedules. And it's kind of difficult to have good results when you're trying to squeeze it in. Like for myself, like when I go up to the Delta and I leave Friday night at midnight and I get there at an hour before lines into the tournament, I'm putting myself, I enjoy doing it and I want to go, but it's also a disadvantage for someone like yourself or others that are there for the full 2 days of practice, putting in all that time, being fully rested and being fully focused. So I just feel like as the sport progresses, there's going to be more opportunities like this and more money to be won, to where some of us can maybe go out and kind of go out on a little bit of a risk and pursue this thing full time. So we just got to keep pushing through this time right now. But anyways, that's what Anthony does. So he's making the most of it right now. So let's head into the ABA at the Delta. So he just said that, oh yeah, I'm kind of a whatever bed fisherman. And then he goes out to the California Delta with 40, hammers, basically. Everyone that's been signing up for the Ironman series has been a pretty respectable, in the kayak community as far as the names goes. We got like John Myers, we got Damien, we got Greg Blanchard, we got John DeMonet, we got Lepke, we got Garcia, we got all these guys that are signing up for the Ironman. And it's really cool to see the North, Central, and SoCal kind of clash together in these events. And I know there's a lot of people that say like, oh, you only had 40 anglers, but these 40 anglers are freaking hammers.
Yeah.
And the entry fees are really high in this tournaments. They're not, they're not $50, they're $250, and they're 2-day events, and there's off limits. So as far as entries go, I feel like 40, we've been kind of flirting with 40 the last couple of events. I feel like that's pretty good for a brand new kind of elite series that's kind of hitting the California market right now. And Anthony just won our Delta event that we had, and that's what we're about to get into right now. I have a couple of photos to throw up before we kind of dive into it. So let's throw this one up right here. I think this was a pretty good one. He's just an okay spawn bed fisherman. I mean, that's what an okay bed fisherman looks like right there. So, and let's see another one we got. We got this one right here. I made this one, but I mean, he took first place, took home $2,500. And the way that we've been doing our award ceremony too is that we wait till Monday at 7:00. And I know that Anthony was very, very anxious to find out the results, along with Dominic Doan, who took second place. But I feel like it's been kind of a cool experience. But anyways, let's highlight this really quick too. So this was the top 10 for the Ironman series. So you got Anthony on top. He beat out Dominic by 3/4 of an inch, and then Lepke was close behind, and then Alden Walden, John DeMonet, Matthew Brannon, Justin Dutcher. Justin Dutcher also won Big Fish, I believe, with like a 23.5 or something like that. And then Garrett Clark, who's a local to the Delta, did pretty well. Poo Yang, local to the Delta, and Griffith Garbrandt did pretty well as well. Kind of the interesting thing about this, and I didn't say it on the ABA part, but I'll say it on my own show. If you guys look, Anthony, Dominic, Brian, Alden, and John, the top 5, 4 of those names, excluding Alden, were SoCal anglers. I think that's a very interesting thing, dude. Like, not all of us have a lot of experience on the Delta, and I was talking to a couple of guys about it afterwards, and I feel like one of the reasons why the SoCal guys did well, and then same thing like when the NorCal guys came down to Paris, there was like 3 guys that were from NorCal that did top 5. It's interesting to see how this Ironman is going to unfold as we move forward, because history is kind of getting put at everyone's forefront as far as everyone's fishing history, and the guys that are kind of putting it together in the moment with the off limits are doing better, which is kind of crazy. This is a brand new format. So what do you think, Anthony? That was your first Ironman event. So let's talk about your experience overall, and then we'll kind of get into your practice. But how did you like the Ironman series?
I thought it was, I think that whole blackout period that the Ironman's doing is awesome. That everybody has the same pre-fishing days. It kind of levels the playing field, like Shane was saying. Uh, like the dudes that live on the Delta can't really touch the Delta, even though you're there, you can't do anything. And just like us down in SoCal, we can't touch it. It's right here in our backyard, but we don't get that advantage. So, I think that's awesome. I know, I think some people didn't like it too much, but when you think about it, you still get 2 days. That's 8 hours each day on the water at least to go and scope it out. And just do your homework. That doesn't mean you can't go look at it online. You can still do your homework at home. And once you get there, just kind of piece the puzzle together. But yeah, no, the Ironman series is definitely awesome. And I can't wait for the San Vicente one.
Yeah, man. I think the blackout is definitely something that I feel like there's across the country. There's a lot of trails, a lot of anglers that are fishing the trails that are hoping that there are some kind of off limits moving forward.
Yep.
So it was cool that the ABA kind of gave us the freedom to kind of design it how we were kind of looking at it, and I think it's been pretty good. And we're going to power through this year and make some little changes here and there as we move into next year. But I think 2 days is good. We started with one, and then we kind of said, one may not be like enough for guys traveling. So we went to 2, and I think 2 is pretty good. So let's go ahead and get into your practice, because I know that you had 2 days, right? You had 2 days of practice. So let's, you can kind of like, you don't have to go into like super detail about it, but like, how was your practice overall and you going into the tournament? Because I know. So why don't you just tell everyone?
Yeah,
Actually, wait. Before you start, I call Anthony and I'm like, "Hey, bro, how's it going?" Oh, I think I have like 100 already or something. I was just like, I think I almost just called my wife in that moment and said, "Hey, I'm just canceling the Delta trip. I don't think I should go." You had an insane practice, bro. Let's hear about it.
Yeah. So this would be my second time fishing the Delta in my entire life. I fished a Wild West Bass Trail event last year or 2 years ago, and did pretty well. Ended up taking fourth. That being my first time. I didn't even pre-fish that. Me and my buddy Alex went up there and we did it up. I ended up taking fourth. So I kind of went to the same area. I knew what was going to be happening. I knew it was going to be a crazy bite. I knew that you were going to need a giant bag both days to take it. And yeah, so I went into my area on to my pre-fishing area on Saturday, and immediately started seeing tons of beds, and not really the right beds, but in the front of this slough that I was fishing, just tons of small bucks. And it was cool. If I was struggling, I was probably going to be able to pick up a limit on a bunch of 15s. But as I moved back into the slough and the water started getting warmer, I started seeing like 17s, 18s, 19s. No females yet, but just tons of fish. And started throwing the reaction baits and started hooking up immediately. I stuck like, I don't know, like a 20, a 21, and a 19 and a half on back-to-back casts, just 3 casts in this one pocket. And it was crazy. I knew that I had something going. I didn't know it was going to be, obviously I won. That's freaking awesome. I didn't know it was going to be a winning pattern, but started going, continuing into it. The sun got higher in the sky. I started punching mats, started sticking giants on mats. I was actually on the phone with Shane, I think, during pre-fishing on Saturday. And it was the first mat that I punched and stuck a 6-pounder. And it was crazy. So yeah, I ended up leaving at like 1 o'clock, I think, on Saturday. Knew that was definitely where I was going to start. I was going to go check another slough on Sunday, but unless it put up like 120 inches, that was going to be my starting spot. So whatever, went home, charged my batteries, tied up, and launched Sunday morning bright and early. And first cast in the new spot, I I didn't mean to stick this fish. I was supposed to shake a bunch of fish off, being that it was Friday and the tournament that was the following day. But whatever, I thought it was a small fish. I was throwing another reaction style bait and stuck a 6. I mean, I say 6. I didn't have a scale, and I didn't have my measuring board, but it was a giant. And whatever, ended up shaking like 8 more fish off, and left by like 9 o'clock. I was done. I knew if the first spot didn't pan out, I could relaunch and go to that other spot. And yeah, I mean, that's basically how my pre-fishing went. Fished all day on Saturday and like an hour and a half on Sunday.
And yeah, I remember I was on the phone with you, and I'm just at work, doing my work thing, and then he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's a giant, Shane!" And I'm just like, "Yeah, sick." I'm just sitting at work, and then he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's freaking flopping around on the mat like a freaking 8-pounder is just flopping on the mat, and I'm gonna go get it." And I'm just like, "Yeah, sick, Anthony. I'm at work, bro. Just I'm gonna hang up now, okay?"
Oh man,
No, dude, it was sweet. So it was cool to see. It was cool to see that you had a great practice and then a great tournament, because sometimes that doesn't really go hand in hand,
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
let's dive into day one, bro. Take the floor on day one. Let's hear how your day one went. All right.
So day one we launched, and I honestly thought I was gonna be fishing that back of the slough alone, but I ended up meeting up with Alden, and it was crazy because he started off kind of in the same area that I was going to start off, but we talked about it and then started doing our own thing, and we were able to get fishing done. And I think it was super low tide, and like it was like mad low back there, and I wasn't able to throw any of my right lures that I wanted to be throwing, and ended up leaving, going to catch. I went actually to where I was marking all those small bedfish and started staking those small bedfish. I think I don't think I caught a limit. I probably caught like 3 or 4 of those small bedfish, and then the tide started coming in, so I went back to that area and started throwing the reaction baits again and started hooking up. I ended up putting up a limit. Nothing like the day or the 2 days prior. I think they were there. They just weren't eating. I don't know what was going on. And towards the middle of the day, the fish started getting a little bigger. And I went by this patch of tulies, or this tule clump. There was only like 3 tule clumps in this slough. And I went by one of them, and I knew it had fish on it because I had shook a fish off there during practice. And the first cast in there, I stuck one. And I don't know what I was thinking. It was like a 20-21. And I tried boat flipping it. And when I tried boat flipping it, it was way too heavy. It bounced off my fish finder and went back in the water. So that being the first fish of day one, it kind of hit hit home for sure. It sucked, but whatever. Regrouped, checked my hook. It was sharp as hell, but did another cast and then stuck a 19.5. I think it was 19.5 or 19.75. Whatever my big fish.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. This guy catches so many 20s that he tries to boat flip a 20 during a huge tournament at the Delta. You will never see me boat flip a 20. My net will be in my hand every time. But
Yeah.
Anthony catches so many 20s. He's like, "Oh yeah, another 20. I'm gonna try to boat flip
during
it."
practice, I didn't have a net. I had lost my net. I don't know what the last tournament that I fished. At Roosevelt. It got so windy on day 2 that I lost my net and it sunk to the bottom of the lake. So I didn't have a net.
I'd be stealing nets. I would be doing something to get a net. I need a net. I fish with a net.
For practice, I didn't have a net. So I was just boat flipping that 20, that 21, and that 19. I just boat flipped on 12-pound test. And so I kind of got the confidence too high on boat flipping. And that's why I had a net actually, but I didn't like it, dude. It was like as short as my arm. I hate short nets. I like longer nets. So yeah, I tried boat flipping that first fish on Saturday. Didn't boat flip a fish again. I'm lying. On day 2, I did boat flip like a 4-pounder, but whatever. On day 1, I didn't boat flip. I didn't boat flip any more fish. The next cast after that one I lost, I ended up netting a 19.25 or whatever. And
could you guys imagine being at this level in life where you're boat flipping 4-pounders in a tournament? Like it's no big deal. Just like 12-pound
wanted
test,
to
by the way,
get him
too.
in the boat, dude.
Just 12-pound test, by the way, too. Just grabbing 12-pound test. What pound test do you use, bro? I need to know this line.
Berkeley Vanish Transition. So Berkeley, if you're looking for another dude to run your line, hit me up.
So if you guys want to boat flip 20 inches, make sure you guys have Berkeley Vanish on your reels, and you guys will be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So after your keep going, bro. Sorry, I kind of distracted you a little bit,
No, it's
but
all good.
keep it
I mean,
going.
that's basically I had giant bedfish in that slough, but it was too windy at the end of the day when I was trying to catch them, and I ended up finishing with like a bunch of 17s and a 19. I might have had a 16, but I
Because
mean, luckily
you ended up day one and like, because I think I
10.
was, yeah,
I held on to 10th. Yeah, surprisingly, I had 89 and a quarter.
yeah.
That was that was mind blowing, dude. Because I was like, I mean, you knew my practice. I was expecting like 100, between
Yeah.
100 and like 102, dude. Like I thought
And
it was in the
speaking of
bag.
102, Don Rucci or
Yeah,
Rochi, day one was in the lead with 102.5, I believe.
yep,
So, and when I saw that, I was like, all right, well, yeah, we're at the Delta, so it is what it is. You know, tomorrow one
yeah,
of us could catch that same bag. And I know that you ended up, like, we all know now that you ended up winning this event and you were sitting in 10th place with 89 inches. So, talk about going into day two. Like, what was your mentality? Like, did you believe that you could still win? Like, did you think you could still win, or did you think like, man, this guy's 102, all he needs is 80 inches?
No, I mean, I knew that it was possible that he could duplicate it and put 200 inches up. Not likely, but definitely very possible at the Delta. There's giants. I mean, you could stick 5-7 pounders and be there again.
Yeah,
With luckily, I had an amazing practice. So even though I mean, I was 10th place, so you can't complain.
yeah.
But I knew that my day two, I needed to get as close to 100 inches as possible. I wanted to break that 100-inch mark. I mean, I was 1 inch short, but I'll take it. I mean, like I said, I won, so I can't
Okay,
complain.
wait. You're going too far ahead. Okay, so day two, you go
Yeah,
into day two, and I remember getting a text from you like, "Hey, bro, like, can we relaunch somewhere?" I'm like,
yeah,
yes, you can relaunch somewhere. So I knew that you, and I didn't see you because we both launched at the same marina.
yeah.
I won't say the
There you
marina. Don't worry. I won't say the marina. Okay. We launched at the same. We launched at the same marina day
Yeah,
one, and then day two, I'm like, oh, he's not here. He must be going somewhere else, and you did. So talk about it, bro. Talk about your day two. 99
yes,
inches, right?
yeah, 99.
Let's hear it.
So day two, I went to that Friday spot, my pre-fishing day two, where I left at 9 o'clock. I knew I had giants. I didn't know I had 99 inches. I thought I would. So my plan going into day two, I was gonna launch there, try my bite because I had a specific bite in that area in the morning, and then leave because our incoming tide was gonna be at like 9:30. No, I'm lying, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So in my travel time from driving from that marina to the next, the tide should have switched and started coming in, and my reaction bite at that other spot should have turned on. Well, that didn't end up happening. I put up a limit like I don't know within the first hour. I think I don't even know. It took me a little while to put up a limit, but I had an 18 and a half and like a bunch of 12s. So I mean that's kind of what I was hoping for to get at least like one good fish out of that area. And
And
with
wait, from day one to day two, like what are you mainly throwing? Like was it a weightless Cinco? Like what was your deal for day one?
for
Like a
day
little
one,
mix. Yeah.
uh, a chatterbait.
All day one was all chatterbait.
Yeah.
And then day two, you still throwing a chatterbait in the morning?
No, in the morning I was throwing a floating worm under cover pretty much. Any cover that I could find laying on top of the water, I was pulling fish off of them like nothing, like nobody's business.
Like a float, like a Cinco, or like
No, it's the Zoom trick worm,
okay.
weightless. So
Okay.
and then just working it like a top water.
So that's what you're throwing day two for right now, but I don't think you were throwing that the whole time though.
No,
Okay. Okay.
no. So
Now
that's what I
yeah, keep
originally
going.
that's what I originally got my limit on. I think I was able to stick one bedfish in the morning. Uh, but after that low light went away, that topwater deal, that floating worm didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Then kind of worked back into, I guess you could say it's an inlet coming into that slough. And there was the 21, that picture that Shane put up, that giant sitting on a bed with a male. So I ended up sticking I worked that fish for legit, like, I don't even know, like 2 hours, dude.
Let's rewind to about 10 minutes ago when he said, "Oh yeah, I'm like kind of a good bed fisherman."
Yeah, so I worked that fish for like 2 hours, and at first I didn't think it was gonna go, dude. The female was mad skittish, and at first the male was
Wait, don't come on this show and over exaggerate. You said 2 hours.
yeah,
2 hours.
yeah.
Don't you're serious?
I swear on everything. I probably worked it from like 9:30 to like 11:45.
Just freaking, Alex told me this about you today, actually.
Yeah,
He goes, the one thing about Anthony is that he will sit on a bed longer than anyone else I've ever seen.
yeah,
And you sat on this bedfish for 2 hours.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Wow.
dude. So I mean, at first I was fishing it facing like kind of like north to south. I was on the north side of it, facing in. The sun was at my back, and it wasn't working. And so I rearranged myself and got behind them. And then they kind of started moving on the bed. They were getting a little more comfortable, and finally got the male. Actually, I thought it was a female at first. Set the hook. That's that 4-pounder that I posted on my Instagram of me flipping. It kind of hitting me right in the crotch. But that one ended up being, I think, like right at 18, maybe 18 and a half. I don't know if it was an 18 and a half or not, but I know it was a freaking fat fish. And whatever, measured it, released it, and 3 casts later, I stuck that female, dude. And after I stuck that female, I was like, I was legit fishing it for a long time, dude. So I knew I was either gonna waste a bunch of time and not be rewarded, or be rewarded with 20 inches of bass. And luckily, I stuck that 18 and that 20 within those 2 hours, so it wasn't that bad of a deal. And that was pretty much it. Because of me wasting that much time, I knew I wasn't going to be able to go to the second spot.
Yeah.
It was just too late in the day by that time. So whatever, stuck those fish, and I was feeling good. I had 2 18s and a 21, so I was already sitting pretty happy. I knew I wasn't going to win the tournament at the time. So I started working my way out of the slough, and seeing little bedfish and really nothing to do. I mean, that would have helped. I think my smallest fish was like 15, and I was seeing a bunch of 12s and 13s on beds.
Yeah.
And the sun set itself up perfectly to cast shade right in front of the tulies that were in that slough, and there was a ton of tulies, way different from the other spot. And I was just going and picking any little point of tulies that came out on the, like, so it's the line of tulies, and then every now and then there's a little point point of tulies. And every flip that I would throw, I switched to a Senko, started throwing a Senko on 12-pound test, weightless, wacky rig. And every tule point had a freaking fish on it. And ended up sticking like 10 fish. I caught my first flip, I caught like a 17, measured it, perfect. Next flip, legit next cast, stuck a 20. And I'm like, holy crap, this could happen, because now I have a 21 and a 20 in the bag.
Yeah.
And continued down the bank. I ended up sticking like another 17 or something like that. And after that, I think between that 17 and almost like 2 hours left in the tournament, I was just catching dinks after dink. And we kind of got to where the slough that I was in splits to the main old river, whatever I guess it would be called. And so there's a fork. I went on the right side of the fork where it was kind of calmer because it was starting to get pretty windy. And I stood up because I was fishing sitting down, just throwing the Senko, just moving, dude, as fast as I can while letting a weightless Senko sink. So yeah. Sorry. And continued going. Finally, I don't know what made me stand up, but I stood up, dude, and there was like a 10-pounder sitting on a bed. And I'm like, holy crap, if I catch this thing, like, I got it in the bank, dude. Because this thing was like 25 inches long. It was the biggest bass I've ever seen in my life. Sitting right, like I could see it sitting on a bed. And flipped in there and it bolted, dude. And I was like, well, I'm not spending another 2 hours on this because that's just going to be the rest of the tournament. So I kept fishing, and legit, I think my next cast after seeing that 10-pounder, I stuck another 21, dude. And I've never horsed a fish so bad out of toolies with the spinning rod. I mean, I set the hook, she jumped and dove right into toolies, and I mean, I just cranked her out of there, dude. I'm surprised that either the line didn't break or I didn't straighten out the hook. Again, no net, definitely no net that day. I had to grab all those fish by hand on day 2 because I broke my net in half because I didn't like it. So whatever, grab that fish, and after I grabbed that fish, dude, I was like, this might have just happened, dude. Like I have a 20, 2 18s, and no, I have 2 18s, a 20, and a 2 21s. No, 118. What am I saying? So whatever.
Yeah, 118.
Almost
Yeah.
over 60 inches with 3 fish, dude. So I was like, this might have just happened. I mean, again, until we're on that live on Monday night, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But the confidence was really high. And I ended up almost screwing up. We had until, like 3:30, I think, right, to submit fish, or was it 4:30?
We
I
had
don't know,
till
whatever.
3:30. Well, we had till
Yeah.
4:30. Yeah.
Yeah. So I submitted all my fish, or what I thought were all my fish, and that 4-pounder that I caught with the female earlier in the day, at the time my smallest fish was like 16, and I was looking through my photos and I was like, holy crap, I didn't upload my 18, and that probably would have that would have definitely changed the leaderboard, dude.
Did you
And
guys imagine being at a level in your life, in your tournament life, and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about my 18-incher.
Yeah, so whatever, I submitted that fish with like 5 minutes to spare, and yeah, I mean, then it was just a waiting game, dude. I mean, I had an amazing day. That was probably like, I think, my best day, 99 inches
And
in a
then
live tournament.
boom. 188.25.
Yep.
Anthony Garcia. It was cool, man. It was cool being a part of the award ceremony and knowing that you won already. And it was killing me not to tell you, but like I said, the experience was worth it. I think looking back on it now, it was a fun time. So congratulations on that. Like you guys see, like this is why I said the 3-week tear, because this was 1 week after Roosevelt, literally. So Sunday he won 2,300. This weekend, like the next weekend coming up, was the ABA Delta, and then he wins 2,500. Right? You won $2,500. So now we're at $4,800 right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday night after the award ceremony, Anthony Garcia heads out to Louisiana for the KBF Trail at Caddo.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna say it like this. Why? Like what? Like you just want to go, right? Like you're just ready to go, because like Caddo's like not really just a trip that you just make, but like, is that your first time fishing Caddo?
Yeah.
So you're just like, I'm just gonna go fish Caddo this weekend.
Yeah. I mean,
right? Is that pretty much it? Or
it was already in the plans. That was going to be my
Yeah.
last like far trip for the year until the NC.
Okay.
I mean, but the goal is to be the first dude from California to make it into the 10 house, and I gotta hit these trail events to make it happen.
Right now in AOI in the Pro Series, I believe you're first.
Yeah.
Okay. First in the Pro Series. And then overall, where are you at right now in the trail? Like in the overall AOI? Where are you at?
I think I'm third.
Third.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why is because Anthony decided to go out to Caddo and do this. Wait, this. Okay. He did this. You guys could see that, right? He took second place in the trail out of like 88 or 90 guys. Sticks, by the way. Absolute hammers in kayak fishing. And then he does this, third place in the Pro Series. And then he's catching fish like this. Like, I don't even know what that is. It's like a freaking whale. And again, right into Anthony's wheelhouse. Caddo was spawning fish. And like we heard in the beginning, Anthony's not a very good spawn bed fisherman. He actually is horrible at it. He has no clue what he's doing when it comes to bed fishing at all. Zero clue. No clue how to catch them. And this just fell into his lap. He had no clue what he was doing when he caught this fish. So okay, Anthony. So you go out to Caddo Lake, bro, and you absolutely sack them. So let's walk through it again really quick. We're almost at the 50-minute mark. I try to keep it under an hour. So Caddo, let's just run through Caddo right now. So let's hear about Caddo, bro. Let's talk about it.
So me and my dad had fished it before. I can't take like the full credit for scouting out areas. I mean,
I'm gonna leave this here for a second.
he told me me and him fished together. I think the whole tournament. We split off day 1 and day 2, but eventually met up at certain spots because I mean we were pre-fishing together and found the same stuff. So during pre-fish, me and him legit had on. I think we only had 1 day. No, we had 2 days of pre-fishing. And on the first day, it was cloudy. I mean, stormy as all hell. And we were sticking them. I mean, we legit, just like the Delta when I was up there, me and him this time were just sacking them up. And we kind of stopped fishing after a while because I think if we were to keep fishing, we would have broken 100 easy. So we kind of knew where we were going to start fishing on tournament day. Day 2 of practice, did the same thing, except we went to go look for beds because this place had tons of beds everywhere. And so we waypointed tons of beds. And yeah, that was, I mean, we had a great pre-fish. We had, I think I caught like, I don't know, a 6 and a 7, and he caught a 4 and a 5. So it was awesome. So going into day 1, it was like a light switch. I mean, it just I started catching him. My dad had he was struggling, but I started just catching him, dude. Basically, all I was doing is just I had my motor on 3, which was going like 1.2 miles per hour, something so super fast, and I was just lobbing Senkos at trees and then hooking up and then stopping my motor, measuring and continuing down the bank. Not even the bank. There's like cypress trees in the middle of the lake at Caddo, but that was basically it. I was just Senko fishing early in the morning, and then once the sun got high in the sky, I would go to my beds and try to catch those bed fish. And on day 1, I think all but 1 fish. I caught 4 good fish on bed, and then I caught 1 good fish on the Senko, and that's pretty much it. I kind of messed up on day 1. I mean, not really. I got 3rd place in the Pro Series and 2nd place on day 1. Can't complain. But I left fish. I had a 16 sitting in my limit on day 1, and I could have called it up, and I didn't because I had like 4 good bedfish, that being one that I would have called up on day 1 for the following day. I mean, knowing now if I would have called up, I mean, based off of that 1/4 inch that I lost by, I mean, I probably would have took it, but like I said, I can't complain. So ended up taking 2nd with big fish. I caught a 23-incher on a bed, and it was right at 8.99 something pounds. So I mean, I was calling it a nice number.
He said on a bed too, by the way, just so you guys know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, had an amazing day 1. Found better fish for day 2. So going into day 2, did the same thing. Started throwing the Senko early in the morning, and it was kind of slower day 2 than rather to day 1. I'm guessing because I had pounded the fish on day 1. So I ended up sticking like 2 12s or a 12 and a 13 early in the morning, and kind of slowed down because I felt like the fish weren't biting like they were the day prior. So I was kind of leaving that Senko soaking in there a little longer than usual, and hooked a giant like 45 minutes into the tournament, and ended up popping off right at the boat, which was super demoralizing, having only 2 fish for the morning. And so whatever, continuing down the bank, I stuck like another 15. So I have 3 fish right now. And just going from cypress tree to cypress tree. And it was kind of easy to see which ones that are going to have fish. Usually the cypress trees that either like make a hole in the middle that has water in the middle, that's usually going to have a bed, or just bigger clumps of cypress trees isolated from the main cypress tree patches or whatever you want to call them. You're able to call that we're going to have beds on them. So whatever, I actually stood up on this flipped in there, and as my Senko's falling, I see like a 1920 come out and slurp it up, dude. Set the hook on it, and I'm reeling it sideways, and it's jumping the whole time. I mean, just like a common bass does it, where it's like doing that dolphin freaking kick, and I'm pulling it sideways, and my freaking Senko flies out. So that's my second big fish of the day. Still don't have a limit. Almost cracked my rod in half. When I make the video, I'm pretty sure you're gonna see me slam my rod on the deck of my kayak. So whatever, continue up. I ended up finding a giant bedfish. I didn't know it was giant at the time. I thought it was like a 20. I mean, I know a 20 is giant, but for the tournament, there was like 10 pounders sitting on beds that just weren't going. And so whatever, I see this fish. I work it for legit like 45 minutes. At the time, I'm thinking it's like a 1920, but it's so deceiving in those cypress trees, because those cypress trees, the deeper ones sit in like 3 feet of water. And when that water is clear, it kind of looks shallower than it is. So that ended up being like I mean, I have video of that one too. You guys will see it when I post the video, but it ended up being like a 23, 24 monster, way bigger than the fish that I had caught the day prior. But whatever, I got it to go, set the hook, fought it for like 10 seconds. And I picked up my rod, high stick my rod, put my net in the water, and it actually came in the net sideways or laying flat. Did one head shake, my hook flew out, and it jumped. I didn't jump out of the net. I don't know what happened, but it was in the net and it came out of the net. And still no limit. Yeah, continued fishing hard. Ended up filling my limit with Senko fish on cypress trees. And as the sun got super high in the sky, I went to the bedfish that I had found on day one afternoon, and ended up sticking like a good 17, or I think I stuck like a 17 and a half, a 17 and 3/4, and a 19 and a half, and that's how I ended my day. Ended up with, I honestly don't even know what I ended up on day 2. I know I didn't break 90. At least I don't think I did. But it was good enough to go with my 96-inch limit on day 1 to get that 3rd place finish for the Pro Series, which is awesome because it's amazing Angler of the Year points. And I think that's how I'm sitting first for AOI with the Pro Series.
Sick. I mean, I can't believe. I mean, I can, but do you remember what I texted you like a couple days or the day before the Caddo trip?
No.
You don't remember the quote I texted you? The
No.
Sandlot quote? You don't remember?
No.
Okay.
Let us hear it.
No, I said I said heroes, I think I said heroes get remembered, but legends never die. And I go, Anthony, if you win Caddo, you will be a legend. And you were a 1/4 inch short of that. But in my book, still, like, you are just a kid from SoCal just pursuing this thing. And like, I don't know, it's really awesome to see you go out and just like take what you've learned around here as far as how tough fishing can be and apply it over there and go out there and just represent, dude. I mean, I saw Chad when he wrote that little blog the other day that West Coast is like showing out this year. I feel like, he's talking about you and a couple other people, but I mean, you're definitely going for it. And I know that at San Vicente, if you do well at San Vicente too, man, I mean, it's gonna be tough to not. I mean, you're already pretty much solidified in the 10 house. I feel like, unless you don't do that well at the NC, but I feel like you're going to be there and it's going to be really cool to watch. So we'll see how it all pans out, but congratulations, dude. I mean, heck of a run. So how much did you end up taking home at Caddo?
I ended up taking big bass for the weekend. So that was 500 and then 2,700 for my combined 2nd and 3rd place in the Pro Series and the Trail 1.
So let's see, 32 plus 48 is, like eight grand. Is that right? Somewhere in there. Yeah. So 8 grand in 3 weeks. Could you just call your fire department back and say, hey, I'm good? No,
Yeah.
actually, wait. Actually, you know what? You go ahead and go. I'll hold the fort down from May till October, okay? And then we'll see you back in October. Does that
Yeah.
sound good? You can go
Yeah.
ahead and go now, okay? We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
After San
Sure.
Vicente, you could head out, okay?
Yeah, I'll still be fishing the monthlies though.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
it. Oh yeah,
my
wait. 1
weekends.
second. And he won the month long in California
Yeah.
by a landslide, like 4 or 5 inches. You had like 108 inches or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't even really try that hard. Like honestly, like you went out to blank place and threw up a pretty good limit. And then the delta definitely helped. You had like 108 inches. How much did you win for that? $500, $400,
I don't
$300,
even know. I don't
something
even
like
know.
that.
I honestly don't know. I'm guessing it'll probably be like 500.
So Anthony almost cashed $10,000 last month in kayak fishing. Like insane. That's why we're gonna call this episode the 3-week tear by Team Outdoors. And if you guys want to watch all this live, he has a YouTube channel. He's kind of like myself with the YouTube stuff though. Like if the day is just going, like I feel like you and I are kind of the same. Like we don't like dedicate like to fully recording every single thing. Sometimes we do, sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like you get the best shots that you can. And if you guys want to go check them out right now, Anthony, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So why don't you just tell everyone where they can follow you at, and then thank your sponsors that you got. And
Yeah.
then next up on your list is San Vicente. We already know that. So go ahead and let's just close it out.
Yeah. So you guys could find me on Instagram on gteam_outdoors or on YouTube, GTeam Outdoors, just cops, GTeam Outdoors. Sponsors, giant shout out to Old Town this year for supporting me. iRod, Tackle Shack USA, Sims Gear, and what am I missing? Boondocks. And yeah, I think that's it. And my family, dude, can't do it without the family for sure. And my friends, Shane and Alex have definitely been helping out a lot. They're those phone calls always help when they're calling me when I'm out of state.
Yeah, buddy. That's what it's all about, man. Well, hey, congratulations. Probably gonna have you on at Sam V. Probably.
Yeah.
The way things are going. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, man, it's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, and make sure you guys go follow Anthony and get all of his YouTube and Instagram all dialed in. So congratulations, man. Keep your thumbs ripped, and I'll see you on the next one, buddy. Later, bro. All right, guys. Well, that does it for tonight's episode. The 3-week tear by Anthony Garcia and GTeam Outdoors. Dude is on a heater. I guess when you're on a heater, you just might as well just get in everything you can, because you'll end up winning $10,000 if you do that. Anyways, guys, that does it for tonight's episode. I got a little outro clip to show you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. So long, everybody. Where's this outro clip? Here we go.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You could support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.